today's webinar, Intro to QA, How Does It Fit Within the Software Development Lifecycle, with Pavel, our instructor. So first, let me introduce myself. My name is Josie Lopez. I'm the co-founder of Advancio, and I'll be your facilitator today. And also here, my trusted co-host, my better half, my professional partner, Carlos Martinez. Please say hello to the crowd, please.
Hello, Josie. Happy to be here.
And happy to have you. So without further ado, I want to present to you the instructor, Pavel. Do you mind sharing a little bit about yourself with the audience?
Sure. Hi, I'm Pavel. I'm software quality assurance engineer here in Advancio. I have more than 7 years of experience working as a QA. My activities as a QA is to make sure that software is created without any defects and with a high level of quality. Yeah, thank you.
Welcome. So you're the main man. You're the whole reason why our products don't go out full of bugs. So thank you for all that you do, and thank you for being courageous enough to host the webinar today. So thank you for that. Let's get started with a couple of housekeeping rules. Okay, so first things first, this is being recorded, and we will share a link at the end of the session so that everybody has access to the recording. So if you see some content on here that you think somebody would benefit from hearing, please feel free to share. Sharing is caring, so go ahead and do that. Also, we would like active participation. So any questions, comments, concerns, please make sure to use your chat and make sure to comment on there. Any questions, we'll take them at the end of the session. So please feel free to use that avenue or that channel. And lastly, there will be a survey sent out, and hopefully you guys can fill that out. That's our way of getting your feedback so we can make things better and make sure that our webinars are only better and better and better as they come along. So lastly, Carlos, would you tell the audience a little bit about who Advancio is and what we do?
Yeah, of course. Advancio is a software development and IT consulting company based on the beautiful Los Angeles, California. We help fast-growing companies to hire technical talent by offering them access to our global talent pool filled with top-notch, hand-selected engineers. We strive to be above all experts in tech, and we hope you enjoy today's content. And remember, if you are intern or entry or junior engineer and you want to know more about this webinar, join us today, or you can see the video after the meeting.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Carlos. So we're always looking for bright minds. Please look at our careers page. So today, Pavel will be teaching us a little bit about the software development life cycle and the importance of quality assurance and the big role it plays during the software development process. Let's do this. Let's get started, Pavel. Take over.
Right. Thank you, Josie. Well, first, let's start with the itinerary, what we are going to see or we are going to review in this webinar. First is what is the software development lifecycle, basically. Second, what are the phases of this software development lifecycle? What is quality assurance engineer in the software development lifecycle? What is the role of a QA in a project development? And what kind of specialty makes a quality assurance team? Because there are many, and what kind of type of testing a QA do? What is the importance of the quality assurance process? Finally, we will show you some of the famous books or defects that were in the software history. Right, so let's start. Well, first, what is software development lifecycle? As you can see, software development lifecycle is a process, or you can say it's some path or steps or phases to create software of great quality. Basically, that's the software development lifecycle. It's like a recipe you can use to create software of great quality. We are going to see which phases are in the software development lifecycle. Yeah. What are these phases of the software development lifecycle? I will short like SDLC because software development lifecycle is a big word right now. But yeah, basically we have 6 phases, as you can see in the image. The first one is planning. In this phase, we can, or we do, or all the team of developers, QAs, analysts, etc., is where you plan. Well, basically, I'm a little confused. The first thing is we start with the requirement analysis. Sorry about that. And to make it short, we have some question on each phase. And this first in the requirement analysis is what are the current problems? What are we going to solve in the requirement analysis? So in this stage, it means we are getting all the information from the stakeholders, including customers, salespeople, industry experts, and programmers. So we are gathering all the requirements, all the information about the problem that we are going to solve. That's the first phase, right? And second one is planning. The short answer for this is what do we want? We already have a problem, but we are asking what do we want or how do we want it. So here the team should determine the feasibility of the project and how they can implement the project successfully in the lowest risk, having the lowest risk in mind. All right. So basically, is what do we want here? On the phase of design, is how will we get what we want, how we are going to do it. So basically turning the software specifications into design. Plan basically called design specification, where all the requirements should be accepted by the stakeholders. Basically, we create a big document or big set of documents where everything should be accepted by stakeholders, product owners, to make all the requirements on the implementation should be there and everyone should be agreed. Okay, on the phase of the software development, it's by the question of let's create what we want, or the topic, right? Let's create what we want. The actual development, here's where the actual development begins, and is where the magic starts for the QA. So the developers transform thousands of lines of codes into great solutions, right? Finally, the next phase is testing. Is did we get what we want? In this phase, we test for defects and deficiencies. In short, we want to verify if the code meets the defined requirements from the planning phase, and here is where quality assurance makes its presence, right? And the last phase is deployment. The question here is, or the topic here is, let's start using what we got. In this phase, the software is deployed to the production environment, so users can start using the product. So basically, it's the last phase when the client or the product owner receives the final product and they can start using it, right? So that's the 6 phases of the software development lifecycle. What is the quality assurance in software development lifecycle? Okay, so this is a very important process for the software to be created without defects and with a high level of quality. The primary purpose of the QA is to ensure that the software is meet planned functionality. Basically, everything that the client or the product owners require should be tested or reviewed before going to production. So that's where quality assurance phase on the software development lifecycle. What is the role of a QA in the project development? There are many roles, there are many responsibilities or many tasks that the plenty of the QA team does. But the QA team will focus on this for requirement analysis, design, development, and deployment. On the phase of requirement analysis, QA will gather all the requirements, will create all kind of documents like test plans, approach, scope, and we'll create a test strategy to test this software. Basically, this is what we do on the requirement analysis phase. On the phase of design, the QA team will check if all the architecture, and by architecture we mean database, connections, environments, everything that meets all the requirements that we create, all the requirements provided by the product owners. And there or here in this phase, we can create diagrams about how the data flows to have a better understanding of the software that is being created. So in this phase, we gather a lot of the requirements and we check if all that was provided by the architect, by the design team, meets the requirements, right? And we can create diagrams about how the data flows to make or to have a better understanding of the software that we are creating. And in the phase of development, is this the phase where all the hard work of the QA team starts, or this being done? Here we can create or execute all the scenarios, test cases. We can create all the documentation that is needed to verify all the requirements that are being fulfilled correctly within the expectation of the client. So basically here is where we already supposed to have all the scenarios, all the test cases, all the defects. We do all this on this development phase. And the deployment or post-release phase is we can create the reports about what we test, what we saw, how many defects were encountered, how many test scenarios were passed, how many defects are pending, and all kind of documents to the managers of the team. And with these kind of documents, these managers can make decisions with these documents. Okay, so next we can see what the specialist makes a quality assurance team, because there are many, but principal we are going to talk about 3 of them. Okay, first one, we have the QA analyst. QA analyst, this person will create all the documentation like necessary from the project for the QA engineer to do his job. Basically, this person is the top of the line of the QA team, because this person will give all the requirements, all the scenarios, all the documentations to the QA engineer to do his job. So after that, it comes the QA lead. The QA lead is the person who creates test plans, test strategies, and process all the information from the QA engineers. This person also is in communication with the whole team, because he's in the middle. So he will process all the information from the QA engineers and pass them to the QA analyst. And with all the information, we can make any kind of decisions or going through. The last one is the QA engineer. The QA engineer is the one who performs the testing, raise defects, and make sure that the software meets the planned functionality. Basically, this is the one who execute or create all the scenarios. He use many kind of tools like LDM, Azure, QAs, etc. To create or execute the scenarios, test cases, raise defects, and so on and on. Basically, those 3 are the main specialists of a QA team inside. We can go on with the responsibilities of the QA team. Basically, we have many responsibilities, but we are going to talk about 6 of them. As you can see on the presentation, test planning. We have been talking about test planning, but the test plan is basically the guide on what we are going to test, right? And we can do early testing. Early testing means that we can do the testing on the first phases of the development to catch some defects that we are going to have hard work by finding them later. So if we do early testing, it's better for us or better for the team. On the phase of the test execution, here is where the QA engineers performs the manual or automated testing using different types of testing. We are going to see some more in advance. Then it comes the defect analysis. This is another responsibility of the QAs. The defect analysis is where it's necessary to review all the defects and figure out why they happen and why are they causing, and if they are causing more errors, or use a simple error, or we can spare him and focus on another side. In the other responsibilities is reporting. A QA is always reporting everything. Like I said, is reporting whatever is he executing, whatever he's finding, and we can create a lot of reports here. We can create test reports, defect reports, execution reports, and more. And these reports are being used to the managers, or are being used by the managers to make decisions about the projects, right? And the last, not least, is collaboration. Sorry, we are always being collaborating with all the teams because we always in communication with developers, business analysts, project managers, developers, and client to make decision about what is fun or what we do. Here we have some type of QA testing. Basically, there are two, functional testing and non-functional testing. Functional testing is where we test the behavior of the software, meaning is how it may interact between other systems. And non-functional testing is where we test how the system works, for example, how fast it is, how responsive it is, and scenarios like that. And we have many types of testing that we are going to need another webinar to talk about them. Okay, so what is the importance of the quality assurance process? First of all, but not the most important, it saves you money and reputation. Because, for example, in trading software that was not testing correctly or properly, a customer could lose their money. Even if we compensate for the damage, it will be impossible to save our reputation because they already lost money, but they will never trust it again. So if this kind of application trades, trading software, if they are not tested correctly, losses of big losses of money can occur, and it will, and the clients or the project owners never will trust again in the person who developed that application. Okay. Another importance is that prevents emergency situations. Some applications, for example, are gathering information in a daily basis. If this process fails, can you imagine the situations to fix it? We will need to warn all the users to enter the information again and so on. So this will be difficult for the clients, and they will not be happy with the application. So another is another responsibility. Sorry about that. Another importance of the quality assurance process is increase customer loyalty. A bug-free software, it will keep the customers happy, and they will keep using the application. So they will keep coming to using other applications, right? So we can have another importance like the increase employees' productivity. Employees can focus on the software itself if they are not defects. So if the software is bug free, the developers can focus in continue creating more applications without interfering to fixing bugs. Okay. So at the end, it makes software more secure with high quality. The quality assurance contributes to more secure software by eliminating vulnerabilities to prevent malicious attacks. So this means if we have already test a software that has been tested correctly, it prevents about malicious attacks, basically, and loss of money, loss of data, etc. Okay. Okay. Finally, I will show you some of the most famous bugs in software history. The first of all is the mod of all bugs. It's basically this was a mod between some panels in an old computer. It says the Mark II. It was on one of the first computers on the Harvard University. It was like exactly like you are seeing on the picture. It's a mod, so they qualify it like a bug. So it was found by a woman called Grace Murray. She logged the first computer bug in her logbook, and she wrote exactly like that. First actual case of bug being found. So this is the first one. The first one defect or the first one bug is that why a defect is being called a bug. So since then. Second one, we have the 2K bug. Anyone older than 30 remember this? the panic and the chaos about the 2K. But lot of people believe that computer system will fail in New Year's the 1999. Instead of the computers passing to the 2000, some people say it will change to 9000. So, and this will cause major disaster, will unleash, and it will be the end of the mankind, basically. So, but however, we're still here. It was just a minor defect on some train stations, some vending machines, but at the end, never happened. But this was caused by some engineers that didn't care about adding another 2 digits, basically, to his variables. And next, we have the black screen of the death during the Windows 98 presentation. I guess more than one here already saw this on his computer if he's working with Windows, sorry. Well, this screen of death was displayed at the live presentation of the Windows 98 with Bill Gates sawing the screen failing in his face. So can you imagine what Bill Gates was thinking at that time? So this will not happen if the application had been tested before the presentation. And I think that's all what I have from my side. I have some reference here if you want to see where we gather all the information. Yeah. Carlos, are going to continue with the questions, Fernandez? Everyone is mute.
Okay, sorry, we had a bug. The host wasn't allowing us to unmute, so that was all planned. Like we say, we wanted to show you guys what a bug would look like in the flesh. So thank you so much for all of that great information. To be honest with you, I was almost eating popcorn when I was hearing all the different bugs that you were saying. The 2K, yes, I'm in my 40s. I remember what that was. So thank you for all of that walk down memory lane and kind of giving us not only the factual and how it's so important in all these different steps of the software development lifecycle, but I think we all get the gist of why it's so important. I mean, if we want to retain our customers and we want to make sure that we're delivering software that's working, then having a quality assurance analyst along with a quality assurance lead along with a quality assurance engineer is probably a good idea. Okay. So, I kept on asking myself, what type of profiles would be really good for QA? Like, is there some people that lend themselves just to quality assurance of it? Like, are they the people that are like very detail oriented or?
Yeah, you basically need to, like you said, great detail oriented, very focused on the little details to find any kind of defect. Any other person of the IT with a little knowledge of database, some little knowledge about development, sorry. But yeah, mostly any person in the IT side can be a QA. So if you like the little details and create documentation and find bugs and make the developers angry finding the bugs, so this is yours. Yeah, this is yours.
Would do good. All right, so thank you for answering my question first. I'm sorry I prioritized that, but I know we have a slew of other quality assurance questions here. I have, what are the consequences of not including quality assurance in the process?
The consequences, well, like I said in the other slide, we can say it is the excessive expensive, like bugs require prompt attention to rectify. They are like easier and cheaper to fix them in the previous phases than after finding on the production or the applications already working online. So that's the first one. Second one, we can find delayed product launches because if we already have some dates in mind and we didn't finish to find or fix any kind of defects, this will delay that launch. And at the end, it could be or sorry, um, not happy users because no one likes software with defects or software that is unusable. And we can say that we can reduce the brand reputation if a company keeps releasing software with defects. So soon this company will have bad reputation and less clients, fewer clients. Sorry.
Yeah, so trying to get quality assurance in early and not do a lot of that test planning beforehand can save us a lot of money. Then when we deploy it, then we might have to revert back. It'll just be craziness. Carlos, why don't you take a stab at one of these questions?
Yeah, we have some questions in the chat. Let's pick one for you. Are there multiple strategies for QA testing, Pavel?
That will depend. I could say that will depend of the project. Sometimes it will depend of the client. But yeah, that will depend on basically on the project. If you are going to test, for example, you cannot use the same test strategy if you are testing a mobile application or if you are testing a web application or a desktop application. That depends of the approach, of the scope, of the time, of how many people you have on your team. But yeah, the answer is yeah, there are many kinds.
Nice. We have another question here. What are the main benefits or the big benefits of having a QA in the software development lifecycle?
What are the main benefits? The main benefits, well, it's all the contrary that I said before. It saves you money, it saves your reputation, it prevents emergency situations, it brings customer loyalty. Like I said, if we keep them happy with good or high quality software, they will keep coming, they will recommend us, and that, right? And it will increase employees' productivity because, like I said, if there are no defects that need to fix, they can focus on other things, other activities, on other tasks. And at the end, we can have software more secure and with high quality and no defects.
That's perfect. So for sure, it's better to have a QA in the project instead of not having nobody checking the bugs and nobody checking for the errors. So we can have those major errors, like you say in the slides.
Yes.
Lucy?
For you. Manual or automation? We're talking about quality assurance strategy and which one you should use. And you said it really depends on the client, it depends on the project, it depends on the life cycle. Heated debate over which one's better or when to use one or the other or both.
Again, that will depend of the project. The main answer were always that depends. That depends on the project because we cannot automate new things that are being released. We cannot automate new iterations, new tasks. We should automate only when there is already, we can say, a block or a chain or a module that is stable and we are not making changes. Because if we are going to make changes to that module, we are not going to need to make changes in the script automation. So basically, we can use both, but the scripts or the main focus for the manual efforts will be different than the efforts that will be done for the automation. Yes.
Yeah. So it depends.
Basically.
That's a good go-to. We have one more question. I believe we'll take two more after this one, and then we'll let you rest on it. For testing mobile apps, do you have multiple smartphones, like multiple Androids, iPhones? How do you determine the screen sizes, or if you're going to do Android or iPhone, or is that set in the parameters during the planning? Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we can use physical devices at the same time. with many of cables, or we can use emulators. And with using emulators, we can select what kind of device we are going to use, which version of Android or OS. It depends of what. But basically, emulator will give you all the devices that are already on the market, so we can use them to emulate if we are going to use any specific device that it requires by the client, or this is focus, or we need to focus on Android because this application or this app is going to be only for Android or OS or whatever the client needs. But
All right. Second to the last, I'll take this one, and then Carlos, you'll do the last one. Could the development team perform QA for the project? Or is it necessary to have somebody?
Yes, actually, they do a little thing that they is called unit testing before releasing his code, but um, it's not that stable or that standard that like the QA team does, because we do a lot of documentation. We base on requirements from the client, and yeah. But the the developers can do, if they are not doing unit testing, they must do before his own release to the branch, to the merge branch, or before releasing to the production. They don't have any QA team, they must do. But to answer your question is yes, they can do, but they are not going to be like extensive as a QA do.
Yes, business users, they always say, well, the software developers, can't they just do it on their own? And I always say, yes, basic unit testing, but they know what they're built, they know what they're clicking. They really need kind of a critical eye that is completely removed from the project. It can come in and really tinker and kick the wheels, right?
Yeah.
So yes, it can be done, but
it's like saying if you are going to watch you in the mirror and say, "Yeah, you're handsome."
that's really good. Carlos, take us home.
Yeah, we have a last question. So as we said at the beginning of the webinar, this more is for entries and juniors engineers. So you have a personal advice of what they can start learning from now to become as good as you as an engineer here at Advancio?
Well, they can start by reading the foundation course of the ISTQB. ISTQB is like an international um, I forgot the question, but is the main group of people that make the certification for the QAs. In this foundation topic, on this foundation part, they will find a lot of documentation, a lot of definitions that they are going to be very helpful, because sometimes we do any kind of testing, but we don't know what we are doing. And there is a lot of explanation, a lot of documentation, a lot of values that they can perform from there. So basically, the ISTQB Foundation documentation.
Nice, that's perfect.
What does ISTQB stand for? It's another. We just learned two acronyms: the SDLC, right?
It's International Software
Testing
Board, if I know. No?
I'm quizzing the instructor.
Yes. We have been using that word, but
yeah. Yeah, and I think you can also get certification through them as well. They're a really great governing body that can help you get started with a lot of documentation and tips and tricks. So thank you for that, Pavel. All right, guys. So with that, we've gotten to the end of our webinar. I hope you've enjoyed the content. If you don't forget, if you don't like it, don't say it. But if you like it, share it, subscribe. Make sure that you come back again for the next webinar. Yeah, Carlos. Any remarks?
Yeah. Guess what? We have job openings. So if you are a Scrum Master, a .NET front end, full stack, or QA engineer, we have an environment where you can embrace your uniqueness and keep growing. And Advancio can be your family. Visit advancio.com/job seekers and learn all about all the available roles that we have for you. And if you know someone who is interested in this webinar or any position that we say right now, share advancio.com/job seekers with them too, so they can apply.
Perfect. So, good evening, good night. Curtains are rolling up. Come back September 15th for self-driving cars and insurance and how that's going to impact everything. Very interesting, riveting stuff. Thank you, Pavel. Thank you,